So labia,
yeah. So
cool song.
This is what I'm gonna say. Okay, I got a couple hot takes about the start of this album here. So today we had an exchange on Twitter where you said there's a song on this album you always skip, and I don't recall ever skipping a song when I listen to it. And I have to say, for me today, re-listening to the album, Labia, I could skip it.
Ugh, that's a horrible point. You really messed. There's an album on every Deftones out. There's actually a song on every Deftones album I'd skip. On White Pony, it's Elite.
Yeah, Elite is bad. I always skip it. On self-titled, it's Lucky You.
Yeah,
for sure.
Elite is a fucking terrible song.
It's a really bad song.
Yeah, no, it is not Labia. I like Labia. I think it's a very cool sounding song.
Then that's fair. So here's my second hot take. So because I always think a lot of people compare Deftones to Radiohead. That gets the kind of like, because Radiohead's like the thinking man's indie and Deftones are like the thinking man's metal. So you kind of get this like Deftones are the Radiohead of new metal kind of thing. And so to me, Mascara is there like everything in its right place. Like I can remember when I listened to Kid A for the first time, because obviously like OK Computer had some like leanings towards like where they're going to end up on Kid A, but no one obviously was expecting it to be as crazy as Kid A. And then on Kid A, first song of the album, all you hear is just this like and you're like, what is going on here? This isn't a guitar. I've never heard this song before. And it's like Radiohead being like, yeah, this is what we do now, so fucking get into it. And for me, that's like Mascara. Mascara is like the Deftones. They're like, yeah, we got the first song on the album, we just yell shove it a bunch of times, which is cool as shit. You're gonna mosh to it, you're gonna yell it at your stepdad, happy birthday. Then Labia's like Chino's screaming the whole time. It's super aggressive. Abe's drumming, killing it. You're like, oh, this is everything I loved about Adrenaline. Hell yeah. I'm fucking pumped. And then you just hear boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And it's like the slowest song ever. And you're like, oh, okay. And then Deftones are like, this is what we do now. We're just giving you like a little preview. This is where we're going. And then that obviously happened later on with White Pony and everything.
John, I got to tell you, with Mascara, I've cried to that song in my life. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was pretty sure that song was about every single girlfriend that I ever had.
Of course, because you married them all. It's too bad that they're married to you. Yeah.
Well, you know what though? Like even after I was with my wife, I've been with my wife for almost 20 years, or for 20 years, I believe now. Oh, I'm fairly certain 20 years. I've been with my wife for 20 years.
It's okay. She's not going to listen to this.
No, well, I don't know. She started listening to Street Fight, and I was like, oh, geez, I say some stuff about you on there, don't? But
it's for the business, babe.
Yeah. Well, you know what she does? She does book the concerts and stuff, and the better it goes for her, the better it goes for us. The closer she is to being able to quit her job. So,
hell yeah.
I would think about that song. That song really like was one of those things that made me think about the way I treated her, even where it was like, yeah, it is too bad you're married to me because I am a real fucking pain in the ass. So I always like that song. I don't know why, but I really like that line where he says, you have weak wrists, but yes, I'll keep you. And I also think that like an album needs to ebb and flow for me, because I don't like metal very much. True heavy metal shit. You know, I don't listen to like Gwar or like Lamb of God or, you know, these bands that are just like fucking all heavy all the time, just constant nonstop noise.
Yeah.
And I really liked the fact that they went heavy for 2 songs, just incredibly heavy, and then slowed it down for a second, and then go to Around the Fur, which is another incredibly heavy song with the best drums ever in it.
Yeah, the drum part to that is like something I love, especially when you're learning drums. Like when I was younger, when you're learning drums, having a cool drum part that you can also play pretty easily is just such a gift. And like that beginning of Around the Fur is just, it's pretty easy to play. Like once you know how to like kick a bass drum effectively, it's real easy to play, but it sounds so cool. And just the like on the hi-hat, it's just, it's beautiful, man. I love it. And yeah, you're totally right. It's a great song.
So then, Around the Fur is also about, the ladies' private stuff. I'm positive of that,
I mean, I don't know. It's not as on the nose as Labia, but I mean, they're definitely, I think that's what they're indicating, Brian. I'm going to agree with you on that.
I don't like it. I can't believe my favorite bands. My favorite album by my favorite band for a very long time was This Horny. Because I am pretty well, I was horny back then. I'm not going to lie. There was a time where I was always horny all the time. I'm just 40 now, and I'm like, let's keep the fucking dick and cum talk, somewhere else. And then I bring it up on every podcast. So,
yeah, it's an interesting, like, pardon me, they kind of slow it down with Mascara, but they give it back to you with Around the Fur and Rickets. And that's the song you don't like, right?
I hate that song. Like, I think that song sucks. So there is not a single redeeming value to that song.
Really?
Chino doesn't sing at all in it.
No, but he does say that he drinks too much and he does some other stuff too much.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like the drum part. I don't like the singing part. It's so, it's annoying. It's like a really annoying song. I can't believe, I honestly, like, that's another, it's like Elite, even though, me and you are actually wrong about Elite in that it won a Grammy, which maybe makes us right.
That makes us right.
Yeah. But like that song is just like, it's difficult to listen to. It's like bad for the ears, and it really feels like they had put Damone there,
Yeah.
The hidden track on the album, Damone, put that there. That's a good song.
Yeah.
Ricketts, put it at the end of the album because nobody will ever want to hear that song. It's bad. Like, I understand, I'm not saying Ricketts is a great song, but I do think there's something about the lead from Ricketts into Be Quiet and Drive that really works for me. Like, I feel like it's the way that the song is structured. It's so heavy and the drums are so heavy that it makes that beginning, like, kind of serene guitar note on Be Quiet and Drive. It makes it pop even more for me, I think. And I think that Be Quiet and Drive, Lotion, and Die the Flu is the best 3-song stretch on any Deftones album, I think. Lotion was, obviously the first stuff I heard. And it's odd when they did that, when they actually did the Lotion thing, when they released 30 seconds of Lotion, they just like really released like a random part of it. It wasn't like, it was like a mid-verse part of the song.
Sure.
And we're all like standing there trying to figure out what this is. And you're like, man, I don't know. I'm a little nervous about this, but it kind of rocks, at least we got to hear it. But once you got the whole thing together, I thought it was really good. I think those 3 songs are really good, but I think Die the Flu is my favorite Deftones song, period. I got a couple that would be in contention with it, but I used to listen to for skipping Ricketts, I would get to Die the Flu, and I would sometimes just hit back and listen to it again when it was done.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, Die the Flu has so much good, like, it's such a good, like, quiet, loud song. The drumming in that is incredible. Like, the chorus part is, I mean, Abe is such an underrated drummer. He's so good, and he really hits it there, and I love it. I mean, I think, yeah, for me, it's one of their top songs. Absolutely. Like, Be Quiet and Drive for me has got to be the best song on this album, but Die the Flu is right there for me. And then overall, I probably got to throw like Bored and Minerva and I don't know, Digital Bath. So that's probably my top 5.
I'll name my top 5 right now. It is Teething.
Oh,
5.
okay.
I'm starting at 5.
Okay.
Not Teething is my least out of my 5. But then I really like I like let me see here. I got to look at some of the track lists because Root.
Yeah, Root's great.
4. Boy, do I have a gross thing about that. I mean, like, it's not something that I should tell, but I would if you think I should. It is gross, though. It is. I got to tell you, my Root story is bad. So
I mean, I think you can't say that, and then the listeners will be horrified if you don't tell the story, I feel.
All right, here we go. So, like, back when I first started dating my wife, not first started, we was together for a year or two. Whenever I did, like, oral, I had heard that you should hum while you're doing it, and I always hummed that opening guitar riff when I was doing oral pleasure to my wife.
It's funny for many reasons, but the one that is getting me is like, it kind of makes sense for giving oral. Like, it's kind of got that sort of beat of like you could imagine humming the song while also like sticking your tongue out, just
yeah,
like,
well, we don't have to like do the other mechanics, but the hum.
That is incredible, and I will never listen to that song again. So thank you very much for that.
So I've done Teething, Root, Fi Real or For Real at the end of Adrenaline, because I was at a concert one time, and during that song, before he says no fist to fucking save you from, where he goes into that, a guy fucking hit me in the back of the neck and I went blind for 2 minutes, and I just kind of stood there and just kept moshing until I got my eyesight back, which was neat, and I'll never forget it. And the song fucking rocks. And then 2 is probably I'm trying to think of like what would, because a lot of these are off of White Pony. I have to like kind of look at the albums to remember, but I have one off of White Pony that I really love. And then number 1 is Die the Flu for sure. Oh, Digital Bath.
Yeah, that was also in my top 5 for sure. Digital Bath is awesome.
I mean, Digital Bath is such a great fucking song. Knife Party is such a great song, but those aren't on this album. I just think I think like I think Die the Flu is just a good example. First of all, Die the Flu is the it's Adrenaline and Around the Fur. It is, and it's like the connective tissue between Around the Fur, Adrenaline, and White Pony.
Right.
You can hear all 3 of those albums in that one song.
Yeah, I think there was an interesting, I was reading, I always do some reading about the bands around this time when we get ready to do the shows. And it was interesting because someone had written like a review of Around the Fur, and they were talking about how they're like, yeah, like Chino screams a lot on this album, but he also sings a lot on this album. And you have to assume that White Pony happened because the Deftones band members were like, shit, it sounds like really good when you sing.
It does, but White Pony was a fight though, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. But I just think like Die the Flu for me, you could see that being a song where the band would sit around and go, okay, yeah, Chino needs to sing more and scream less, because it's like, because he's really pushing himself on the chorus of the song, and it sounds so good and it fits so well with the rhythm section. And I'm just thrilled you like it so much, because it's always been one of my favorite Deftones songs, and I feel like people don't really talk about it when it comes to favorite songs. So we're continuing our trend of both. Whenever we do a top 5, you and I always have 2 the same and 3 different.
Yeah, well, Die the Flu is so good.
It's so good.
That's a crazy good song. I've always really liked it. The next song's Head Up. I like Head Up. I think it kicks ass, and I can play it on guitar. I took guitar lessons for like 3 months at one point, but I was a roofer, so I missed most of my lessons. So I did learn Head Up because it's very easy to play.
Sure, yeah.
And I enjoy it, and Max Cavalera is a king.
Yeah.
I believe to be a king.
Fun song. And then you have MX, where Chino actually sings the lyric Pussy, which is incredible,
Okay.
which I wasn't ready for.
Now-
I completely forgot about that part. And the fact that like the first verse, if you just read it, it's not good. I'm going to be honest with you. You're so sweet, your smile, your pussy and your bones. You're on fire, you move me like music with your style.
That's not the lyric. I'm going to tell you something right now. First of all, you said there was a story about Head Up.
For me?
I thought you said there was a
you're right,
story
earlier.
behind the making of
Oh,
Head
well, it was
Up,
just
and I was
that
curious.
Sepultura like broke up because Max Cavalera's stepson died in a car accident, and then they recorded Head Up like shortly after that, and then he came up with the band name Soulfly from Chino singing it in the song.
I hope Chino gets a cut of that, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a little bit of cut of that Soulfly money.
Yeah, of that Brazilian that Brazilian new metal money.
Yeah. Okay. Now, as far as MX goes, I'm gonna let it. I'm gonna. Okay. Here's another one. I'm trying to find it. So when I was a kid, I believed he was saying pussy. Like the whole idea was that he said your pussy and your bones, but in every lyric sheet I read at that time, and I was like always looking up lyrics because I needed lyrics. I needed to read all the lyrics. They replaced that word with magazine, so I had been convinced that it wasn't pussy, it was magazine. But you can hear it clear as day, but then the whole time I was singing magazine and your bones, that's silly.
Yeah,
it
makes no sense.
I don't know why it said, but it was like multiple sites that said it. That's what I think is odd about it. But so he hates this song, huh? Chino hates this song.
Hates MX?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know that.
I mean, it's not like the best song. It's kind of the.
It's okay.
It's
yeah.
It's kind of like Ricketts. It's a really generic.
Yeah.
Kind of Deftones song. It's just.
I kind of I do like the sort of call and response with the woman though, but it makes it feel very horny. Let you think about what? About girls and what else? And also, I didn't know that it was Abe's wife that is the woman in the song. So that's a fun little tidbit.
Yeah. So Damone is the last song after fucking a bunch of silence.
30 minutes of silence. Remember when
I gotta wonder.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about that the other day when I was listening to the album to do this. It's like, why can't Spotify just cut the 30 minutes out and put it as a track?
Yeah, I know. It makes no sense at this point. Like, hidden tracks are just such a weird phenomenon in general. Like, hey, if you put this CD on in your car and you just leave it on for 10 minutes, hey, do we have a gift for you? It's like, just play the fucking song. Like, what are we doing here?
I think, and it's as a person who does a sort of entertainment kind of thing, I think that like we get ideas in our head sometime where we think, so I think we get ideas in our head where we think we can surprise people and they will be very super excited about it. And there's very little feedback about it, especially back then. It wasn't like people were posting about hidden tracks and stuff like that. And I think that was what the hidden track phenomenon is. It was that the band. So I have a philosophy on Street Fight that I like that show to go an hour 15. Like if we're doing a show for a basement show, a regular show, I like it to go to an hour and 15 minutes because I feel like all we owe people is an hour. But if we give them 15 minutes, that's sort of a bonus, and it's not like really a lot of skin off my back. And I feel like Damone and some of the other stuff is the same exact thing. We used to go to a pool hall that had the Korn album on their jukebox, and we would just go in and play Daddy 3 times because it had that hidden track. So like no other music could play for like 45 minutes. And it was awesome, actually.
Yeah, well, and Deftones did it on the first album too, right? Fist is a hidden track on Adrenaline too. They were just...
God, why can't I remember Fist? I'm like having a lot of trouble remembering Fist now. But we're going to cover Adrenaline some other day.
Absolutely, and we'll talk Fist then. But yeah, so Damone, like I would say, for me, it's really... I barely listened to it. I mean, I got to be honest. Like, I remember it being a good song, but it was never really like something that I would sit there and like be like, okay, I'm going to wait until the end of this and I'm going to listen to it. You know, like it just never really felt worth it to me.
So I saw them play it live. And that was a big thing, and it was one of my friend's favorite songs. And this friend is still obsessed with Deftones. Like he still like follows them around and shit like that. If he can go see them, I think it's because somebody from the road crew saw his girlfriend, my friend's girlfriend. We'll call him Terry. I saw my friend Terry. They saw Terry's girlfriend. And they were like, hey, do you want to come on the bus? And she was like, sure. And he sent her in there with a pencil drawing that he had made of Chino to give to him that said Damone on it, and handed it to him. And then, you know, she ended up leaving the van after meeting the band. And he was like, so fucking cool, man. My girlfriend met the band. and gave them a pencil drawing that her boyfriend made of them. It just find out to be a crazy... I mean, I get some wild stuff out there, you know, when we're on the road. People, I've been given a shiv. I've been given drugs. I've been given smoked salmon. Just... People hand me weird shit when we're on the road, so I get it, but it's like weird, man. I probably would have been like to my wife, like, yeah, you probably don't want to go on that bus.
Yeah, of course.
Good's happening on there.
Yeah, and especially to be like, because you have to think that he's thinking, well, she's gonna hand him the photo, so like that's pretty good. Or
yeah,
the drawing.
That's
sorry.
all he thought.
Yeah,
about.
like he wasn't thinking like, oh, they probably want her to fuck her.
I mean, this dude went and saw Jonah Mantragna.
Oh, nice.
On just recently, like 2 weeks ago,
Jonah's
he
still
was
doing
in town.
stuff.
Yeah, he's touring the country. There's 10 people showed up at his show. But he plays a lot of the Far stuff.
Oh,
so
cool. I
wouldn't have minded going.
I still have to listen to that album. But
Water and Solutions
yes,
kicks ass.
I will.
But
the Jonah Matranga one that always gets me is that he's on Lupe Fiasco's first album, just like randomly.
he's great. He's in the Do They Know It's Christmas with Chino and the guy from Willhaven too, Grady from Willhaven too, and that's a great fucking song. So John, I don't know if you guys are in the watch together.
We are.
Or if this is going to work, right? We're all in there.
We're all in there. So this is normally we like to finish off our review by looking at an old news article from the time period and seeing kind of what the ridiculous things being written about the band were. But for those of you who maybe don't know, the Deftones are aggressively boring. There's there's a little bit of drama, but very little, and pretty much most of their stories are just like, yeah, we like hung around and like skateboarded a lot and like made the album and it was cool. And that's like basically their whole thing. So instead of doing a news article, Bryan has a clip here for us from the Deftones live at the Waldrock Festival in Holland in 2001. So Bryan, do you want to set this up for us?
So this was a thing that came out in I think, in 2001. It says it on the thing. It came out on the PRP, and they had a download link for it. And I listened to the whole thing all the time because Chino apparently got drunk as hell with Faith No More singer Mike Patton backstage and got out to the audience, and you're going to hear how he acted. And it's wild because, again, I think the thing that I like about this is that they are boring dudes. It's like their band story is very boring to me. And like, obviously Cheese death is like a big tragedy and it's a big part of the story and stuff. But for a comedy podcast, their story is boring. They were 14-year-old kids that formed a band and got famous, you know?
Yeah, good for them.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's just like, what do you have? I mean, okay. Like,
yeah, no, that's what I mean. I'm being sarcastic. It's like, great. Yeah, cool.
But I'll go ahead and get us started right away here. This is the very beginning of the concert, okay?
Okay, can't wait.
It's an American heavy metal.
I already love it.
YNT.
Yeah.
Quiet Risted Sister. Motley Crue. You remember that song? Hey, don't forget. No matter what, don't forget the Nuge. Let's see.
So that is how they came out on stage.
Just listing off a bunch of American metal bands.
It's, sometimes sometimes that's what you want, and I have seen him this drunk once too, but he wasn't as funny. He just wore a big giant gold necklace and kept talking about his dookie chain, as he called it, and saying fuck the police.
Very normal. I mean, I love,
he's a normal guy.
I always love when you see clips like this where like the lead singer of a band is drunk and the band is just sort of like passively aggressively playing in the background. Just kind of being like, hey, like, are we going to kind of get this going? Like, what, we're kind of playing a little thing. Like, maybe we should play it for real.
I've seen some drunk comics like in my day. I did open mics for a while. I would see a lot of comedians that were very hungover and shit like that, and or very drunk, and it was always like disconcerting to me. Because I don't drink before I go on stage. The only time I ever smoked weed before I went on stage, I fucking choked. So I never did it again. Here's a little more.
Do you really want to know why I wear my pants like this? Easy access, baby. Easy access. That's why I wear my pants like that. It's for easy access. See if you are able to put your weenie inside. Oh, my brain is wrong. Why don't we all snap our fingers like that? Be quiet. Don't get loud. I understand you're at a heavy metal concert, but it's okay to collect your thoughts for 1 minute. Collect them. Shh. Quiet. Stop talking. Ouch, that hurt.
Ouch, that hurt.
You got boots on and you're fucking jumping on top of a crowd, kicking people in the face. How good does it feel? I ask one thing from everyone, and that is respect everybody around you. Understand that we are here to have a good time and enjoy music, but please look out for one another, okay? You down with that? Yeah, I like Mortis. The shade.
And then he just goes into that's in the middle of change. I like that.
No, these are all around the first songs. Like they only played one song.
Shove it. Sorry, Shove It. Yes.
Yeah, they only played the one song on that one. And it gets so I have to play more because it gets increasingly hostile, John.
Excellent.
Believe it or not. Which, by the way, how do you feel about this? And that, like, going to see a band, and the guy's drunk is like awesome. That's an awesome experience to me. If I saw Deftones like this, I would be fucking amped. I was when I saw him really drunk. I thought it was like the coolest thing in the world. How do you feel about seeing like?
I think it just depends. I think it's if pardon me, if that feels like their normal state, like that's their normal performing state, and they perform like that, and it's good and entertaining, and they know how to do it, then great. But like I saw the National once. Well, I've seen them a bunch of times, but one time the lead singer was really drunk. It appeared that he drank like 2 full bottles of wine during the show. And he like the band was like clearly pissed off, and it like kind of wrecked the show. Like he wasn't really doing anything that bad. Like it wasn't like he was fucking up or whatever, but he just was kind of all over the place. And at one point he like picked up the empty wine bottle and like whipped it at the back of the stage, like over top of the drummer's head. And like, yeah. And just like went nuts. And so I think like, that was a bit not great because you could see like the guitarists were kind of like looking at him like, what the fuck, man? Like, you gotta calm down, you know? So that kind of wrecks it a bit. But like, if it's sort of, you know, expected, the singer's going to be drunk, we're all having a good time, then then I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, and it's better almost. This concert, I would have killed to be at this one.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds incredible. This is where I put my weenie. I mean... Can't argue with that kind of banter, you know?
This is where he did the easy access joke 4 times in a row.
It's for easy access. Yeah.
It's what it's like to hang out with a drunk, except for the drunk is on stage, has a microphone, and you probably paid $100 to see him.
Yeah, incredible. Okay, let's hear some more.
This is one of the oldest Deftones fans that I fucking know right here. If anybody knows anything about what the fuck we do, and you know that there is no formula to any of this shit. We just kind of go as we go. Are you ready to go with me? Are you ready?
That guitar is 100% trying to shut him up, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because Steph, like, you can definitely tell that of all the band members, Steph is the least likely to put up with Chino's bullshit.
Yeah, like, I'm just, like, the type of guy that's, like, I've never been in a band, so I just kind of figured, like, these guys are probably trying to get him to go. Like, what is it going to take to get him to get the fuck off of this? This is, like, kind of my I guess, like, a nightmare scenario in that, like, I think I can make it funny. I think I could figure out how to make it. Like, if Brett showed on stage, right? See, you're lucky. You're just one dude. You're a stand-up. But let's say when you do Blocked Party Live, Stefan shows up fucking tanked. Like, do you think, how do you even handle that? You know?
So what you're saying is Stefan has had one beer. And I think that, like, I've been around Stefan when he's drunk, and he's just like, so what? Okay, I'll peel back the curtain a little bit here. What a lot of people probably don't realize, because he's one of the funniest people on earth, Stefan's actually, like, pretty shy, and he's pretty quiet. Like, if you're in like a group setting with Stefan, even if it's like with all of his friends, he doesn't talk that much. Like he'll crack jokes like he does on the podcast or whatever, but he's not like gonna lead a conversation generally. And so when he's drunk, he will. So that's like really the only difference is like when Stefan's drunk, he's just like, yeah, fucking yeah, like he's just excited. So I think if we did a live show and Stefan was tanked, as long as he wasn't like, you know, so tanked that he's like falling over in his chair or something, I think it would be fine. Like I think that I would just it would be a little bit wild. And I think part of the dynamic between Stefan and I that people like is that I often get frustrated with Stefan. So, but it's usually just because he's like, you know, oh, what if we came out of our assholes or whatever? And then I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, you know? So I think like I would just play up that I'm like really mad that he's drunk and people would like it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like, I used to do a podcast with a guy who would get shit-faced hammered every single time, and he was really difficult to steer, so it's my nightmare. One of the reasons Brett doesn't get totally tanked before he go on stage is because he knows that he knows that I'll get freaked out by it, you know?
Right, that you have this like past experience. It's like a PTSD thing for you almost.
Right, he worked with the guy too, but it only happened on podcasts. It never happened on stage. Right. So I think Brett just tries to protect me. Here's the next clip here.
I'll be your girlfriend if you want me to. I'll be your girlfriend. Hey, we can go downtown together. We can go downtown together.
Huge error on the band there to play a song where it's his responsibility to start the song.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just like, oh, maybe we should skip that one. That might be a good one.
I would have.
Yeah, me too, for sure. That's
These
really
are
good.
all short. I love them. I love them so much. I just here's another one.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to be a tough guy. It feels so good to be a tough guy, doesn't it?
Okay, so he's calling a guy out for not being a tough guy.
Yeah.
So what happened was at this point in the show, they're throwing mud at him.
Perfect.
And rocks. And he's explaining, you know, he's explaining that he doesn't care that they're throwing mud and rocks at him at all. And it's like super obvious that he doesn't care. That they're throwing rocks by the way that he keeps bringing it up, which I personally would not like to have rocks thrown at me. Here's some more drunk Chino Moreno and Waldrock Music Festival.
Oh, that's not great. Abe is furious. I've been a drummer a long time. Those are furious notes.
Is that the furious kind of drumming?
I've never really been in that situation in a live. So like I used to play in bands in my early 20s, and I was in one band that, you know, we probably played over 100 shows, and it never happened on stage, but that's like a band practice, like, okay, you guys, like you've talked enough about this guitar part. Like, let's fucking play a song. Come on, let's go. It's that like speeding it up, kind of like it's like, okay, come on, we're good. That's great. Yep, we're getting mud thrown at us. Probably because you keep talking about it. So stop it. And also Abe just has always seemed like such a sensible, like no nonsense guy to me that I can totally see him like just losing his shit right here.
Yeah, and I'm like I always hated my drummer because of that thing where we'd be standing there like trying to, when I was in a band for like 2 minutes. Actually, I mean, if you're a listener to this, you might listen to Street Fight if you live near Columbus, Ohio. On December 27th, we're doing a live variety show, and there's a good possibility that I'm going to sing Disarmed by the Smashing Pumpkins. So
I can't wait for that.
Full backing band. It'll be live stream. You'll be able to see it on the internet. But I have sang in a band, but the thing that drove me the most nuts was in practice when the drummer went and quit dicking with his drums, because it's just like, I can't fucking hear what anybody else is saying if you're sitting there pounding on drums.
Yeah, and I just want to play a song, so why don't you shut the fuck up and let's play a song?
I never shut up, and I'm the singer. What am I supposed to do? Here's a little more.
Thank you for making me make this music that I made up when I was fucking this many. I was this many. That many plus 10, I was this many. 16 years old. How many out there are?
Just like, come on, dude. Yeah.
See, I want you to understand something. You can throw whatever you want to throw at me. You can say what you want to say to me. But I don't give a fuck. You know why? Because I'm not fucking no Fred Durst.
Oh!
Shit. I'm not about to sit and complain about every fucking thing. And every time somebody's mean to me, I don't fucking care. You know why? Because I don't give a fuck.
It's a good reason to not care.
Fuck. Let go of me, please. Let go of me. I want to be able to stand here. I'll take anything you can fucking throw at me. Fuck it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Throw fucking dirt at me now. There you go. You're a fucking man, right? Let go of me. Let go of me. I'm cool. Let go of me.
I like that it's always in the interludes to the songs.
Yes.
Let go of me. Let go of me.
He's gonna have more here. More shots get taken. Why are they not just playing the music? Like, I would just play the fucking music.
Because they just don't know what to do. They're like, well, if we start, is Chino gonna come with us, or what's going on right now?
Okay, he did. That was the clip I really wanted you to hear. There is one later on where he says, I don't stand up here like some kind of a bitch and sing about how my family treated me wrong because nobody cares. So
He was really going through some shit that day.
I mean, I can't recommend listening to the whole thing all the way through enough, because really, in the early parts of it, it sounds like he's having fun and it's heavy metal and we're all having heavy metal fun. You guys are all heavy metal dudes, you know? So that's the Deftones Drunk at Waldrock. I have a few other stories. I once saw them at a place called the Newport. I saw them at the Newport Music Hall. It's about a 3,000 person venue. He crowd surfed to the back of the room and he stood on the bar and sang Say It Ain't So by Weezer.
Oh yeah, they used to cover Say It Ain't So all the time.
Yeah, and I thought that was like a real powerful moment to me. And then there was another show where there was a balcony there, and Engine Number 9. They were playing Engine Number 9, which is a song that if you ever want to make people run through walls, it's Engine Number 9.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And a guy fucking jumped off the balcony into the pit.
Oh my God, did he live?
And it was fucking nuts.
I've never seen that at a show. I've thought about it, like not doing it myself, but I've like sometimes like looked up at the balcony when the pit's going crazy and you're like, is someone going to jump off here?
That's the only time anybody's ever done. That's the only time I've ever seen it. But they had like whipped this crowd into a frenzy. I'm talking about the same show with both of those things.
Right.
And, yeah, the time I saw them really drunk was when they were opening for Godsmack, which is really fucking... They were co-headlining a tour with Godsmack, which is really fucking funny to me that on this 2001 show, he's shit talking bands like Korn and Limp Bizkit, where I would much rather be tied to Korn and Limp Bizkit than Godsmack.
No question about it. Although Godsmack is an underrated live show. I saw them open for Metallica and they were pretty good.
I saw them too, but I thought they sucked, except for the part where they did the drum circle and sang the song about voodoo.
Yeah, the drum thing is awesome because Sully's also a good drummer. So it was, that was great. But let's get on to our review of the album. As you guys know, we review the album by giving it our tweet defense. So if someone tweeted at us that Around the Fur sucked, it's how many tweets we would go defending the album. So Brian, what is your score?
John, I've never had a person tell me that Around the Fur sucks, first of all. I just want to say that out front. But if somebody did, and this number's going to be high, 25.
25, nice.
Because nobody's ever said it. It's a universally believed thing that this album is great. And I wouldn't be able to let it go. It would be one of those things where when you say, so earlier today I said some shit about Rick and Morty. A guy got mad and he yelled at me about not liking Pickle Rick or whatever. And, I've been arguing with him in my head the whole entire day. So in order to get it out, I mean, I will defend the Deftones to the death. You know, and that's a very important one. I have a Deftones, one of those bikes, those hand bikes that you're supposed to do tricks on, you know?
Yeah.
I have one of those in my basement. I just have so much Deftones stuff, and I had the famous Deftones Sacto, California windbreaker shirt.
Oh, classic.
I just have so much of their memorabilia in my basement, and like they were really important to me and all my friends. My sister's cat name was Chino, and like it was just like, it was sort of, Deftones were a bond that held a group of friends together for a very long time. So I would say 25.
Nice. That's great, man. I love that. I would say for me, I'll go 15. I don't know if I could go the full 25, but I do agree. No one has really ever told me Deftones are bad. And if they have, like you said with Brett, I think there's songs the Deftones have that you could show someone that doesn't like them to convince them that even if they don't like them, that they're not a bad band. Like I think they get lumped in with bands that other people think are like universally like bad bands. I think
bad people think that.
Yeah, exactly.
That other bands are bad. The other bands are bad too.
Correct. I agree, but I think that's where some of their reputation comes from, and I think that the Deftones are great and many people should show them love. So I would go 15. We're going to end off the episode with the challenge. And this time so like I said earlier in the show, we realized that the Deftones, an uninteresting band. We've read oral histories of Limp Bizkit albums, of Korn albums. They were great. We got lots of great nuggets from them. This band, no such thing. You can read articles from the time. You can read oral histories from the 20-year anniversary of this album. It doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. They like to party. They built a skate ramp in their studio. They practiced all the time, and they also skateboarded, and then they wrote the album. So, Brian, you and I are tasked with our challenge of coming up with an interesting backstory for something that happened on this album, and it's obviously does not have to be grounded in any sort of reality, but you have to make it interesting.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick a very easy one. Okay. Mascara. I think I could build. I think I could build a romantic comedy out, or like a romantic movie out of Mascara that like would have that like Ray Romano kind of vibe that he has now, where he walks around and he's kind of bummed out, and like one of those navel gazing older guy going through life independent movies, where like Mascara is about a guy who has this woman who is married to this woman who is like this great person who puts up with all of his dog shit, just like me, you know. I don't tour as much as Deftones did, but I've been gone 10 days out of every month for almost the entire year, so I am gone more than like an average person. And my wife never complains about it. She never gets mad. And I think that's what that song at its core is about. The story is that like I do all this stuff and you're just this wonderful person who's taking care of, you know, my family and my house and all of my shit. And sometimes you piss me off, because I think that's like what the weak wrist thing is. It sounds to me like the way I am with my wife, where it's like I don't really criticize her very much. I don't like to criticize my wife very much, but one of the things I criticize her about is that like she lets her family, I mean, she takes a lot of shit from her family, like her mom and dad and her sisters and stuff. And I kind of feel like she shouldn't have to, and that she's an adult and she can just tell them to fuck off. That's the weak wrist part. But like in the end, I still love her and I think she's great. And there's just something about her there, and the guy would be like, you know, there's just something about you, you know, and that's what Mascara is about.
Damn, that got emotional.
I'm an emotional guy, dude.
I love that. That was awesome. Mine is way stupider than that.
Okay.
So, 'cause
I guess I should have done a joke. I'm annoyed now that I didn't do a joke.
No, this is great. So I'll do the joke, you do the emotion, and it works out just fine. So my theory, my interesting backstory is that Be Quiet and Drive actually refers to a 1996 incident where, when they were writing the songs to Around the Fur, Chino was skateboarding on the skateboard ramp they made themselves. And as you know, if you ever skated on a homemade ramp when you were a kid, they are death traps. So Chino, unfortunately, injured himself on the ramp. He fell and he got punctured by an exposed nail and contracted tetanus. And the Be Quiet and Drive part was where they had to drive Chino to the hospital, but where they were recording, the hospital was far away. And so they couldn't get him, to the hospital in time. So Chino Moreno actually died in 1996, and he was replaced by a doppelganger. It's actually the same conspiracy theory about Avril Lavigne, that she died and was replaced with a different girl named Melissa. Same thing. Chino was replaced by a guy named Carlos, and that's who's actually been fronting the band forever. So a lot of people thought Chino cut his dreadlocks. He always had dreadlocks, but he died. The new guy couldn't go with dreadlocks. He had to go with the spiky hair, and that's it. So it's actually the guy you think is Chino Moreno is actually Carlos, last name withheld, and has been fronting the Deftones ever since.
Man, we really, and you know, we really didn't stress enough how much women were in love with Chino Moreno.
Beautiful man,
you know?
Just a beautiful guy, and it's at Carlos. But yes, it's crazy
no,
that
it's
people.
Chino, actually. No, we're gonna start passive aggressively. No, it's Chino.
Yeah.
Okay, come on, cut the shit. Okay, this is not loose change.
He's a beautiful man. I think it goes without saying that we would both have sex with him, and so would many others. So
it's also he's like Brett to me in a way. There's this thing about him. It's like, and this is just me and Brett, right? but it's also me and Brett when Chapo were on stage and stuff like that. He's like a handsome guy standing by like a bunch of mutants all the time, and it's annoying as hell, you know? Chino is a handsome guy surrounded by mutants in his band.
Yeah, no, that's a good call. I mean, Abe, I think you could make a case. Not a terrible looking dude, all
Boring.
things considered. But yes, boring. Yes, Chino is certainly a king among princes.